I watched the movie Obsession opening day last week, and no spoilers, but if you've seen it, you'd know that all that conflict and scary, horrific stuff could have been avoided if the main character of the movie just manned up and confessed his feelings to his crush. And we all know someone that's been in that situation, or maybe you were in that situation where you had an opportunity to tell your crush how you felt, or just ask someone out and you didn't. As an older member of Gen Z, I'm 24, I've seen this time and time again. I've seen firsthand some of my friends being approached by a girl who clearly wanted something, and they spent the whole encounter looking at their own shoes and spamming the shortest responses to end the conversation as quickly as they could. Some people just can't be helped, but all of this really got me thinking about Gen Z in particular and how much we're afraid to try. But this isn't just about dating or asking people out. This is about failure in general. There's a lot of stuff our generation struggles with that maybe other generations had an easier time with. But growing up on the internet the way that most of us did, I feel like we were kind of doomed to have these fears. And I think one of the most prevalent ones we have is a fear of looking cringe. Other generations grew up with embarrassing phases, but they weren't archived forever for anyone to access at any time. When I was coming up in middle school and especially high school, everything that was embarrassing was shared. There were no secrets anyone could have in the digital age. I remember one of the guys on my high school's football team, super nice guy, everyone liked him, he was nice to everyone. It ended up getting out that he had a foot fetish. But it's not just stuff like that. It's like anything that would be considered like not cool was shared and everyone knew about it. Like when I was in high school, it still wasn't cool to like anime, and there were people getting made fun of or being called the anime kid. And people would post on their stories the, kid in a Naruto headband, Naruto running to lunch. I wish one day I could feel as free as that kid felt Naruto running to lunch, dude. That was what he was interested in, and he literally wore that interest and showcased it to everybody. But now that everything is screenshotable and searchable and repostable, embarrassing things can get out about you, and you don't want them to get out about you. So even if you are really interested in something, you probably don't want to post it. I've noticed people are terrified to tell you what kind of music they're into. They're always like, oh yeah, bro, I listen to everything. Because they fear with every fiber of their being that the moment they mention a specific artist or an album, you're going to make fun of them or they're going to be seen as cringe. And this goes into, how people carry themselves. I know a lot of people have been fighting back against this nonchalant epidemic where, caring too much is cringe. And now I feel like the pendulum is kind of flipping where not caring enough is also cringe. So everyone kind of exists in this weird place where like everything can be publicly judged, and the safest way to not be judged is by doing nothing. So now a lot of people in my generation, I can only speak for my generation, would rather be boring or ironic. It feels like no one wants to try anymore, and when they do, they get made fun of. That's another thing, dude. People don't want to try at all. They don't want to try to be good at anything. I think another big thing now is people have this fear of not being instantly good at something, which is stupid, but I get why it happens. When you're scrolling, especially on like a For You page on Instagram or TikTok or whatever, you're seeing nothing but like polished final finished products. You're seeing everyone at their best, and you're not seeing the bad stuff because the bad stuff doesn't rise to the top. And to be honest, people don't really post the bad stuff unless they don't know it's bad. When you're picking up a new hobby or skill, you're always comparing your first attempt to someone's 500th, 5,000th. So being bad at whatever it is you're trying to be good at just feels humiliating. And you always have that moment where you think you're kind of getting the hang of it, and then you see someone who's 10 years younger than you, or I don't know, way more handsome than you, just doing it effortlessly way better than you could ever do it. I think a lot of people need to realize that being bad at something isn't a flaw. Being bad at anything is like a required step to being good at whatever that thing is. I know a lot of people, and I'm like this too, where there's just so many paths of things they want to do, but they never really do any of them out of fear of not being good at any of them. But there's also, the fear of just choosing the wrong path. When my parents were growing up, there weren't that many options. You go to school, hopefully graduate high school, hopefully get into college, get a job. If you weren't the school type or you liked working with your hands, you go to trade school. Now there's so many different paths you can take. You can go to college, you can go to trade school, you can create a startup, you could look for remote jobs, you can create content, you could freelance, you could gamble on stocks, you could gamble on crypto. And if you take an interest in any of these, you see a bunch of people online explaining why that path is the smart one. And it feels like if you hard commit to any one of those paths, it's sort of killing the other ones, especially if you choose, not to go to school or to go to trade school instead. I don't know what it's like for you guys or what's going on in your lives, but choosing any one path and hard committing and it going wrong could be catastrophic. So sometimes people don't want to choose a path, even if that path would be better for them. Sometimes people are just indecisive, not because they don't care, but because they care too much and they don't want to mess it all up. In a lot of ways, the modern world sells you almost infinite options. It's like Netflix. It's like picking something to watch. You're afraid you might pick the wrong one and you'll regret it. So it takes forever to pick one, or maybe you never do pick one. I feel like myself and a lot of people my age have this fear of wasting time. Time is so valuable. Time is money. I mean, time itself is the only real currency you have in your life. And I've talked to some of my friends, and again, I feel this myself. Sometimes when we're doing things we enjoy, we feel like we're wasting time. We feel guilty for doing the things we enjoy doing. So now the new thing is that you have to monetize your passion, whatever it is. If you like painting, you should do commissions. You should sell them on Etsy. If you like content creation, you should become a big famous YouTuber and know the YouTube algorithm. If you like making music for fun, hey, post that on SoundCloud, get a record deal. But there are some people that want that. I know a ton of people that think to themselves, hey, I could probably do something with XYZ skill/hobby. Something they've always liked to do and something that they think they're pretty good at. And they won't try to make a career out of it. And that's not because it's gonna taint their love and genuine enjoyment for their hobby. It's sort of a mix of everything I've said in this video. The second they post that song or post that video or paint that thing and put it up in the public, the second they try to make that thing their thing, they're gonna be judged. People are gonna talk about it. People might not like it at all. People might think it's cringe. There's this idea in everyone's head, including my own, this fantasy for making a career out of this thing that they love. For me, it's YouTube. I sometimes make thumbnails and titles for fun, and I'm like, wow, that'd be a good video. And I literally won't do anything with it. I don't script it. I don't give the idea to anybody, because the second you try to make something of it, it becomes real. And once it's real and it's out there and people judge you, you might not be good at it. You maybe chose the wrong path and you're wasting your time. You might just find out that you're perfectly average. You were never exceptional at that thing, and you have to live with that. I feel like that's why a lot of people don't try at anything in general. They don't want to be just an average person. They want to be different. They want to be exceptional, because that's all you see online anymore in this era. Everyone online is exceptional. Everyone is rich. Everyone's hot. Everyone's talented, disciplined, successful, mysterious, optimized. So at a certain point, being average starts to feel like being a failure. Statistically, this is how averages work. Statistically, most people are average at most things. That should be fine, but the internet and social media makes it feel like you're behind. But it's okay to be a normal person. I would rather be associated with normal people than to be associated with these husks of people that never try at anything. When you boil it all down, these people aren't trying at these things because they're afraid of failure. When you think about it, they're trying so hard to not try and avoid failure that they're becoming failures. You can not go up to that girl and not ask them out. You cannot post about things that you like. You cannot ever dance in public to not get made fun of. You can be undecided and not choose a specific path to go down with your career or life. And you cannot try to do any of these things for all of your life. But at the end of it all, you really didn't do anything. Avoiding failure and avoiding being judged and all these other things is safe in the short term, but over time it creates the exact life you were afraid of living. The best way to avoid being cringe, or to avoid being seen being bad at something, or to avoid choosing the wrong path, is to never do anything. You can't always avoid failure. Sometimes you have to fail. You have to get rejected by that girl that you went up to. You have to suck at whatever hobby you picked up to eventually be good at it. And you'll never know whether or not a path is right for you if you never try it. This is the only life you have, and you have to live it. Have as much fun as you possibly reasonably and safely can. Even if it's cringy to other people, if you enjoy it, then who cares? Stop being so nonchalant and go be bad, go be cringe at something, because otherwise you'll never do anything at all.